Today we are hunting nickels. Hi everybody, this is James on my channel CAD Roll Hunter, and today we'll be hunting Canadian nickels. I've got 30 rolls, 3 bundles of 10 that I got from 2 different banks. These first 2 bundles I got from a bank in Collingwood, and it looks like we got a short stack in one of them here. It doesn't look to be full like the rest. And this other bundle with these clear plastic ones I got in a bank in Niagara-on-the-Lake. So we'll see if there's anything interesting in these. This one here, I don't see anything interesting on the end. They look like all very modern ones. But in these 2 bundles, I can see some older, like 70s, 80s nickel. You can see one with an older portrait of the Queen there. I can see a 1975 over here. So we're going to have a look. Of course, what we're looking for is anything old, any varieties. Will we find a 1990 bare belly? That would be interesting. I always separate out all of my nickel, so any Canadian nickels from 1981 or before are pure nickel. Anything after that, a lot of the 80s nickels are cupro nickels, so they're 75% copper, 25% nickel, and anything newer is not going to have any precious metal content in it. So we're going to get into these and see what we find. All right, we're starting with roll number 1 here. I've just opened it up and flattened them down. The first thing that I do when I look at them is to look to see if I've got any 12-sided nickels. You can see here's an older one. Not all Canadian older nickels have 12 sides. This is a 1962, so some of the older ones will have that, and that's just a visual thing that you can look for on the edges to see if you might have anything old in your rolls. I don't see anything 12-sided, and I didn't get this one in this roll, just to be clear. I don't see anything here, but we won't know what we've got until we look through. So as I find things, I'll bring you in to show you what we found. Okay, I'm partway through this first roll, and we found a 1990, and that year isn't particularly scarce at all, but it's one of the most interesting varieties. I'm just going to put it under the scope here, and we can see, all right, there's our 1990, and this is awesome because we've actually just found here a variety. This is the 1990 bare belly. I've found 3 of these in the past, but you can see this patch that should be fur like the rest here is actually missing that detail. So it's called the bare belly. So this is a variety. I'm going to add this to a coin flip, a 2x2 coin flip, and add this to my collection. So this is a really, really good start because the majority of 1990s that you'll find won't have that missing detail, but this does for sure. And there's varying degrees of bare belly, so this might be kind of like a medium, and some that more of this area is blank, and in others it's only a little bit. So this is actually a pretty good example of the bare belly. And yeah, so it's hard to see it with the naked eye, but it's there. So having a scope is really helpful, like this one that I've got. It's the pluggable. And so that's a great start. We're in roll number 3, and I'm bringing you in because we found a 1980. Now, because this is 81 and prior, this is definitely going to go into my nickel cup, which is empty so far. But there is a variety we can look for on this one, and that is a double date. And you can't see anything by the naked eye here, so I'm going to put it under the scope. Okay, so we've scoped it here. I've blown this up, and I can see there's really no doubling whatsoever. And any which way I look at it, that date looks pretty clear. So that's not it. So this guy is going to go into the nickel cup, and we'll keep on going. Roll number 4, and I put another 1980 under the scope here, and again, no real sign of any kind of doubling at all there. So we'll keep going. Okay, we're on roll number 5, and I'm bringing you in because we found a nickel with a bit of a different design. There aren't too many nickels, truthfully. Most have the beaver that actually, so not very many that feature another design. This is from 2005. This is commemorating 60 years after the end of World War II. And it's very similar in design to some of the coins that were actually produced during the war. this isn't rare or anything like that, and this one's not in great shape. You can see some gunk on it, and it's pretty circulated. But it's an interesting different coin that you might come across. We're all the way into roll number 9 now, and I just found this really frazzled one. I wasn't sure if it was really old. It's just a 1979, but it does mean that we're still finding some nickel in our roll. So we're just going to throw that one in the nickel jar, and we're going to keep on looking. We just dug into roll number 10, and we've got our first older nickel of the hunt. It's a 1964, and if I flip it over, you can see that we've got the laureate portrait of the Queen. And this is the last year for this portrait. So that's one of the things about Canadian coins, is that the older coins often get pulled out because they're really easy to spot, because like this, they've got a very different portrait on it, unlike some of the American ones where the coins have been the same for many more years. So we'll pull this one aside. It's our first find alongside our Bare Belly 1990s, so we'll keep trucking along here. Okay, we finished our first 10 rolls. I'm just going to dig into roll number 11 here, and it's one of these see-through plastic ones. You'll see it's got tape on it. These are notoriously bad for not staying together and spilling out coins, so it's very common that you get them with tape on it. They're also notoriously bad for being short, like one coin often, because they're hard to stick in there. So you never know until we dig into it, but I got to get in this tape and see what we've got, if we've got anything. And because it's clear, you can look at the ends. I don't see any like 12-sided coins or anything like that, so I'm not seeing anything particularly old, but we'll find out in a moment. Roll number 12, and we just found a 1977, so this is a pure nickel, but there are two varieties of this. There is a high 7 and a low 7, and you can actually see on this example that the second 7 is lower than the first 7. And if we put it under the scope, we'll make it even clearer. So I'll do that in just a sec. All right, here it is under the scope, and you can clearly see that the top of this 7 is quite a bit lower than this 7. And so there's a low 7 and a high 7. And the high 7, of course, the 7 is actually above this one here. So a couple of interesting varieties to find. Roll number 13, and we found another different nickel here. This is the 2017. You can see a stylized beaver in an indigenous style. And this is commemorating 150 years of Confederation. And so it's still got the modern portrait of the Queen on the back here. It's a little bit different, the obverse, than the other ones, but very different style. This is roll number 14. This is the short roll. This is the roll that I guess they just didn't have it quite enough, but they still wanted to take it in. So we're going to see, hopefully there's a bit of a gem in here for us, but we'll find out. Well, and just because I was curious, I decided to count it out, and we were short 4 nickels, so there should be 40 in there. There's only 36, so we lost 20 cents on this deal. All right, well, we finished that roll, and there were no hidden gems. There were a few 70s for our nickel jar, and the last coin in the roll was an American, so it's our first foreign. It is a 1995 Philadelphia, probably pretty common, but I always just put these aside, and so we'll put it on our finds over here, and I'll check it against my own album to see if it's one that I have or not. My entire US collection is really just from coin roll hunting Canadian coins, and so we'll see if that's something I need. Okay, roll number 15, and I've just got a 2000. It's just looking at it, it has doesn't have the P mint mark on the back, but I'm just bringing you in. So the P is a composition mark that would indicate that it was made of steel or something other than nickel in the late 90s. The mint was experimenting with different metals for coins because nickel was becoming expensive. And so several years have ones with a P, the composition mint mark for steel, and some don't. But I highlight this one because it's really, really shiny. And more so, you can see it's got a really nice finish on the Queen here. I think that this one is actually probably from a proof-like mint set that's just been put into circulation. It's just got a really nice mirror finish. It's not a proof, but maybe a proof-like. So I'll just put it aside as a find because it just strikes me as one that seems just a little bit nicer than just a regular business strike. Roll number 17, as I flipped this one down to check it, I see it's a 1990, and then right behind it, we've got an older one with the laureate portrait. So we get to check this one to see if we could possibly have gotten two bare bellies in the same one. I can sort of see that looks like it's got full fur, but we'll put it under the scope and we'll find out. And well, you know, I could make an argument that this is the small variety of the bare belly. You can see right there, there isn't any fur. I'm going to put this one aside. It's not as good an example as the other one, and I'll pull that one up right now. So we'll pull this one up where you can clearly see there's a lot more, and there's sort of like some horizontal lines there that are really visible. But what we're going to do is see if we find any other 1990s and see what it should look like. And I'll just, another example just of another year that we're looking at. There's full fur. There's really no spot of the belly that doesn't have anything. So I think we've actually got two examples of the bare belly. Okay, and back looking at this laureate portrait here. It is a 1964, and there's a variety we can look for on this one too. It's the extra water line. So what we're going to do is, let's see if I can get it close up. You would see it under the designer's initials, KG there. I don't see it with the naked eye, but we'll throw it under the scope and just see. And there's no extra water line. What you would see is a line that comes up right about here. And so we don't have that at all. This is pretty common here, but we're going to keep looking for it because they're out there. I know it. Roll 18, we got another 1980. I'm just going to scope it and again see if we can find any of that doubling, and I don't see any doubling whatsoever on that date. That looks pretty clear to me. So it's going into the nickel cup. Roll 20, and we've got our second American nickel, and it has the look of something that's a little bit older. There's no mint mark on it, but we can see, and it is a 64, not in terrible shape at all. And so we'll just add that to the pile and we'll keep on digging. Roll 21, we found another 2017 commemorative nickel, and this one looks in really pristine shape, so I'm going to pull that aside. Roll number 22, and in this one I caught a 12-sided nickel. You can see it right where my fingertip is, so we know it's something a little bit older, well, fairly old. Let's see if we can get it. And what is it? All right, it's a 1962, and there is our laureate portrait of Queen Elizabeth. It's got some circulation wear, but we'll pull that one aside and we'll keep on going. Same roll, and I can see we got a couple of Americans here back to back, and they look a little bit older. So this is, there's no mint mark. That's another 1964, and then right behind it, no mint mark on that one. You'd see it to the right of the Monticello building. And that's a 1972. Okay. Same roll, and we've got a 1996 with a fair amount of luster on that. And there are some varieties to look for here. There's a near 6 and a far 6. And if I put it under the scope, what we're looking for is how far away or how near the 6 is to the D. And this one appears to be the far 6 variety. There's a fair amount of space here. And on some, now you can see a little bit of mark. I just think that's some damage or something on the coin, but there's an error to look for too, where the near 6, which comes closer to the D in Canada, actually has a bit of like a die chip or something that's in there. So it's actually touching the D. So that's a variety you can look for. I haven't found it, but I've found lots of variations of this near 6 and the far 6. Roll 26, and we've got another US nickel. This one is a 1995 Philadelphia. Same roll and another US nickel. This time it's going to be, goodness if I can even get it, a 1975. Roll 26, and right on the end here is a 1996p US. Roll number 29, and we're going to have at least another older coin. I can see a 12-sided coin right here, so we'll try to see what that is. And that's just a hint that there might be some older stuff in here. It's hard to tell from the edges otherwise, but a lot of the older ones that we want to find just have round edges and don't look much different than any of the rest. So here we go. And okay, we got ourselves a 1959. So very happy to get something from the 50s here for sure. Same roll, we've got another American coin. It's just a 1996p. Okay, this is it. This is roll number 30. I don't see anything by the edge here, so we won't know for sure until we go through it. If I don't find anything interesting, I will be right back for a wrap up. Roll 30, we got at least one more for the nickel cup. That might be it. We'll see. We just got a few more to go, and I just see those two. This one has a P mint mark. What we'd want this to be is the 2000, because that would be a low mintage, but it's not. It's a common 2001 P. And that's it. I'll give you a wrap up in just a sec. All right, so we hunted 30 rolls of nickels, and here's what we came up with. We got 8 US nickels. I think 3 of them were 1964. Those are the oldest ones. We got a 1959 Elizabeth, as well as a 62, and then a couple of 64s. A really, really shiny 2000 that I think might be a proof-like. I can't be sure. It might just be in pristine new condition. A couple of really nice 2017. A pretty decent version of the 1996 FAR 6. I may or may not keep that. But by far the best finds of this hunt were our two 1990s, both of which happen to be the bare belly variety. So we'll take one more look at the stars of our show, these two 1990. We'll put this guy under the scope and we'll have a look. And this was the one that shows perhaps the least amount of bare, but right there you can see it there. And I think this might also be part of it too. And the better example, of course, this other one here under the scope, you can see a whole lot more of the belly is bare, and even over here on the right side by the hind leg. So that's a really great example of something that is uncommon and you can just find out there coin roll hunting. So if you don't look for it, you're not going to find it. And if you find it, it's a great addition to a collection. Thank you so much for watching. Please like the video and subscribe. I'll have more videos coming out. I really appreciate your support and watching. Thanks so much.